Okay, welcome to a sort of how to use Fumbbl once we're in a game. I'm going to try and go through a few of the different things that you're able to do with the various teams. What I've done is set up in test mode. You can only, so it says SAN0638 versus SAN0638 at the top. I'm doing that so that there isn't like a massive delay at the other end while I'm talking about stuff. So the one that is recording is the one where Morkel Manglers are at home. So that's the one I will be focusing on and getting the orcs to do most of the stuff. Partly because orcs are doing better at doing stuff than vampires anyway, so that's all fine. Let's have a look. So first thing you need to do when you load up, you need to click yes, so you want to play. And then you wait for the other guy to click yes as well. Okay, and then someone gets the opportunity to transfer gold. Well, both players get the opportunity to transfer gold. So at the moment, the Morkel Manglers are the overdog, so they've got 120k. So the vampires have got 120k of inducements. So I'm gonna transfer some money. I'm gonna transfer 70k. Just to show how inducements work, because obviously you won't be able to see them. So 70k of inducements means that the vampires now give away 190k, and they will probably get a wizard, because wizards are awesome. So let's click transfer, and you get to buy cards first, and then you get all the inducements afterwards. I'm pretty sure this is because the cards were added as inducements after all the other things. So I will not choose a card. I will click continue there at that point, and then the underdog chooses his cards. Actually, we will. So we'll choose a card there for the underdog, which you obviously can't see, and then we click back to the orcs. So I've got 70k to spend, which is basically just a babe or a bomber. Oh, let's go for a bomber and see what happens, just to demonstrate some of that kind of stuff. And then the other guy, actually let's go for a chainsaw so we can maximize what's going on. I should probably have given like the orcs a load more inducements, but I'll get most of the idea across. So at the moment the vampires are getting to choose to kick or receive, and the vampires have won the toss, so it says waiting to kick or receive, and I do not want to kick. So, and then you get to set up. So the vampires are setting up first, so I'll just do that quickly. Stick a load of people on the line, doesn't really matter where. So the vampires are just choosing. The vampires haven't got any save setups, I'll talk about those in a minute. So the vampires are just sticking a load of players out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, there we go. Okay, and you get the ping, which is shows you it's your turn. So let's talk about the different settings that we've got here before we start. So in the game menu, you can concede, which most people don't do very often. Occasionally you get people that do. You've got your game statistics there, which you can click on, tells you how things are doing so far. So you've got fan factor 3 for those, and then these build up throughout the game, completions and touchdowns and interception casualties. And you can obviously click a bit more details of who's doing what in the various teams there. Team setup, so this is your setup of how you want the players to be on the pitch. So if I click load setup, I've got 2 set up there. Basically because when I'm on offense, I don't have a standard setup because it depends too much on how the opponent sets up, what the race is, what players I've got, and the situation in the game, and all sorts of things. So, but in terms of defending, I've got my defense, my standard defense, and then I've got my 1-turn score defense. So if you just choose one of those, you can click load, and then obviously you've got team setup, and you can save a setup as well. So I could call that anything I wanted to, and you just click it in there and click save. So if I move a couple of players, that's pretty much a change that's often made. And then I can save setup, and I can call that wide defense or something along those lines. Call it anything you like to help you remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'll take the let's take the gobbo off and stick the bomber on. Probably about there would be sensible. And then end setup. And then the vampire gets to kick, but before he does that, he's going to sort of play a card in a second anyway, I think. So he gets to choose where to kick the ball, and you just left click on the square you want to kick to, and then click kick off. Now the vampire is going to use kicking boots straight away, and he's going to give that to somebody, doesn't really matter, that one. And what you see is that the card has been played, and now the vampires have got kick, so it might have been sensible to kick the ball differently. You get the option to use the kick skill, and it's throw a rock. So that's quite nice. I really like that the you now have this big screen whenever the kickoff result happens. So now that we've started, we've got the sort of 5-second countdown going at the top there, and it tells you the total 5-second countdown, the 4-minute countdown, and it tells you the game thing that's going on well as well. So when you get to 4 minutes, the opponent will have the chance to force a turnover, basically. I probably won't demonstrate that too much, but there is a big force turnover thing down in the end turn section that appears after the 4 minutes. And it's reasonable to use it. I think most people give a warning before they use it for the first time. So, like, if you go over 4 minutes, you might say, depending on who you are, you might say, please don't go over too often. I'm in a hurry. I want to play for 4 minutes or so on. Or I tend to just let people do it and then ask them to hurry up a bit if they need to. So before we start off, so we do the setups, then we got your user settings here. So you've got sound, self-explanatory. So spectators have the option to boo and hiss and so on, and I'll do another one about spectating. You can't see who is spectating your match, you can't see the chat that's going on, but the spectators can have stuff in their chat window down the bottom. And spectating is quite good fun. So I think I have done a video of the spectator. If you look at the one for the final of some tournament or other, I think it was the Road to the World Cup, the Road to the NAF Championship. Sorry, I recorded the final and all the chat is there. So there was like 100 people watching that one. That was quite good fun to watch. So I recorded the chat on there. But you can hear the spectators. Some people don't want to hear the spectators, so you can mute them. And then there's a volume button, and then there's sound off. Icons. So icons, you've got a choice. The main choice is team icons and abstract icons. So if you click abstract icons, it gives you T for Thrall there, V for Vampire, HW for Helmet Wolf, BD Bomber Drimmelstot, Z. Z is Blitzer, B is Blocker, L is Lineman. So fairly straightforward. And then roster icons will do something a bit later. That's for a future upgrade. Auto move, I almost always leave auto move on because it allows you, so if you click auto move on, if I just show that, I can move this guy to there like that, and then if I turn auto move off, just end his turn a second, so I can't like track a path to someone, I just have to click one square at a time. So I almost have an auto move on. I think most people probably do. So if we turn that back on, and then pitch wise, you've got a basic pitch there, and you've got a default pitch, which is that one, and then you've got a customizable pitch as well, but nothing, that's not happening yet. Pitch markings, on and off, there's those numbers at the top. I often have them on, basically to see how far away I am from the end zone. So if I've got a move 7 player, I know that I want to have him somewhere in this row to be able to score finally. Okay, you can obviously use it to see how far away people are as well, but that's the biggest use in my opinion. The range grid, so you can have always on or toggle. So if I'll come back to that one, I think. And then they've got the restore defaults. Missing players, so I've got a someone with a smashed ankle. So that beep, it shows that I've taken 4 minutes for my turn. It flags up down here, says timeout possible. Coach may force a timeout on his/her opponent. So the other player will have a button that says force timeout, and they can click that, and that's within site rules to do that. So the missing players there. Inducements are listed. So star player, bomber, dribble start, got star player, and dirty trick card. Tells you the card that's happening, and tells you the game options. So the different game options you can have one about overtime. You can have one. There are various league customizable rules about sneaky git and things like that. If you're interested in those, you can look into those. Basically, some testing rules that are going on, and then there's the help one. Just to click on the help, the biggest one is when you're spectating. You got chat commands in there, tells you how to say stuff. So your spectators can boo you, they can cheer, they can clap, and so on. Right, let's get on with the game then. How do you control people? No, we won't even do that yet. So one of the most useful things on here is if you do shift, and let's find someone with a skill. Anyone with a skill? So I don't know at the moment about my vampires opponent teams, so let's have a look at him. I think there's a dirty player. Alright, there's a loner down there, so I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to right click on that guy, and it says mark player. Now you can write whatever you like. I'm going to put a J for journeyman. Okay, and there's a dirty player around somewhere as well, I think. Now he's a dirty player, so I'm going to put DP on him, because I might want to target him and punch him up. And I've already got sure hands on this guy, because it's saved from the previous time that you labelled your players. So your players get saved from the previous time, and then at the beginning of the game you can mark up your opponent's players, which is quite nice. So moving guys. So there are keyboard shortcuts, but mostly you right click on a player, and then you can do M, Z, PH, so all the keyboard shortcuts are there, and different people use them in different ways. Some people use them, some people don't. I just play with the mouse. And so I'm going to move this guy, and then I've got auto move on, so it takes you the shortest route to someone, avoiding tackle zones, for example. So if I wanted to go there, I could go like that, but that'd be stupid. So it avoids tackle zones and takes me to there. And then you right click to move. Now I'm in his tackle zone, so it's a 4+ dodge to there, 3+ dodge to there, 3+ dodge, 4+4+ dodge. So I'm just going to right click again and end move. So I could have just pressed E for that one. So if I select this guy, I can press M and do a move action, but I don't want to, so I left click to cancel. So left click to select, left click to cancel, or right click selects as well actually. So left or right click to select or cancel. And then I'm going to do a blitz, and so I just move to next to the guy and then do a block like that. So the two green dots there tell me that it's a 2-dice block. So I right click like that and I get a POW, and I get to choose. Now waiting for coach to use stand firm, so if I flick onto the other screen on my one, there'll be a little box there that'll ask me to use stand firm. I think I do, and then it shows you what's happened to that guy. So if we look at the skills down, look at the dice log down here, it says you rolled a total of 5, 1 + 4, +3 for the chainsaw, gives you 8, so Helmet Wolf was saved. And I'll pop him into there and carry on moving afterwards. Straightforward block can happen down here, so you just right click, choose a block action, left click on the guy. I haven't got block, so I'm going to push, and then I will choose not to follow up. Let's go get the ball, so I right click, and I'm going to do a pass action. Wouldn't normally with orcs, but I'm demonstrating what's going on. So if I click pass, I'm going to go and get the ball first, and then as soon as I've got the ball, because the range grid is always on, so that was my user settings, range grid always on, and range grid toggle. So if I click toggle, and then I can choose to range grid off, range grid on. Okay, where's it gone? Settings, range grid, always on. I can still turn on and off. But if it's basically, if the range grid is toggled, then it won't appear automatically when you're passing the ball. Okay, so I get the choice then. I can throw it to him. As soon as I hover over a player, it gives me a sort of choice of, it tells me what the throw is. So that's a 4+ throw because it's a short pass. So I'm going to carry on moving, and then it takes me down to a 3+, so I'm going to chuck the ball to him. Yeah, completion. So now, if you look over on the right hand side, that tells you that the blitzer started the game with 6 star player points, and now he's got an extra 1, so he's got 7 star player points, and that's quite nice to keep track of. Let's then, so I've used my, so then let's do a handoff. So he's just going to hand the ball, try and give it to this black orc chap here, and he managed that. This is all good, this is very elfy. And then I can do other things as well. Let's do a foul action. So I'm going to go and foul Helmet Wolf. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I need to do an extra square. So now because it's an extra square, it's a 2+. So I just left click to move to there. I failed it. So it always gives you a choice to reroll. So I've got team reroll or no reroll. I will try and reroll it. Fantastic. And then I right click. So the little skull icon shows me it's a foul. Right click, and I have rolled a 6 + 4 plus the offensive assist. I have killed him. Okay. Okay, sorry about this slight sort of 30-second delay there. I was dealing with my children. Do I really want to end my turn? Yes, I do, and we'll let the other guy have a very quick turn because it's not going to be tremendously interesting. But you can watch what's going on. So, one of the most interesting things about the vampires, obviously, is when they fail Bloodlust. So, I'll just zoom through. So he's blocking, and I'll just see if I can fail a Bloodlust. There we go. He can block as well. Pow. And he's going to blitz. 1, 2, 3. And he's knocked him out. So when the opposing player gets knocked out, you get the choice to use your apothecary. I'll click. So yes would put him stunned on the pitch because that's the rules of Blood Bowl. I'm going to click no at the moment. And I don't think there's anything else for this team to do, so then I'll click end turn on that one if I can find it. There we go. So end turn. Yes, I do want to end my turn. So the reason it asked me before whether I wanted to end my turn was because there are some of my players that I hadn't moved. So if you do get that warning, what that means is you haven't moved all your players. Are you sure? Okay, so if he stands up, pow. So while we're thinking about vampires, there are just a couple of ongoing bugs, I think, to do with Bloodlust, and you need to check the forum for those. Basically, if you know about them, or if your opponent warns you about them, then don't use them. There is one ongoing one on the Blitz as well. If you get a Blitz result and you get a player under the ball, then the tool does allow you to use a reroll when you're catching it, which isn't in the rules because the catch is technically between two turns. So the blitz is a turn and the first turn is a turn, but during those 2 turns when you're catching the ball, you're not during a turn, and so you're not supposed to be able to use a reroll, but the client does allow you to do so. But it's a very minor bug, and there are very, very few of those available. Let's just blitz this chappy away then. Let's move to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and smack. And he hits, there we go. And then just to demonstrate, this Black Orc's in a bit of a bother, so he's going to pass the ball, and he is actually going to throw the ball far away. To do that, you right click, and then you pass the ball to any square. So you don't need to show the option of passing the ball when you do pass it, but you do need to do it if you want to pass the ball somewhere. So he's just going to chuck it, and these orc skills are on fire, and then obviously that causes a turnover straight away. So that's most of the things actually that you need to do. So marking players is tremendously useful. Knowing how to throw the ball away is quite useful, and they've got all those settings on there as well, which are good. So we've done about saving setups and loading setups, the kickoff there, the auto move. Various pop-ups appear. So we saw a pop-up for being KO'd. You should be aware that when it's your turn as well, you might see a pop-up if you get the option to use sidestep or stand firm. You get the option to use dodge as well. So it asks you if you want to use dodge, for example, if there's a chain push or if you're near to the wide zone. So if you're in danger of being surfed. When it's your turn, you get options about using grab if you want to use that, again for chain pushing. You get options about whether you want to use a load of skills really. Okay, so that it'll be obvious on your turn, but on the opponent's turn it's things like sidestep and dodge, as well as when you get KO'd and when you get injured. So you do need to be paying a little bit of attention on the opponent's turn. What happens on my computer, I don't know if this is universal, is that the Java thing, so if I happen to flick off and checking emails or something while the other person's having his turn, the Java will flash, and then when it becomes my turn it will ping at you. But do be aware that there might be things like stand firm and KOs that you need to deal with as well. So other things that you might want to do, so leaping and stabbing and so on, all of those are done before you start your move. You've got to choose that you're going to do a... Do you have to do that? No, I don't think you do for stab actually. Sorry, that was a bit of a distraction because someone wrote something else. You choose a blitz action and then you choose to do the stab. But with those little specialized skills, it doesn't take much to learn. Okay, and then a few other sort of bits and bobs. Last ones is the screen that we've got. So we've got the weather is down there next to where it says playing. You can hover over that and that tells you the nice weather. That changes. This next to the weather is where the spectator number appears. Tells you how many spectators you've got. Down the bottom right is the inducements where they appear, so it's fairly obvious what they are usually, and you can hover over them if not, for rerolls and so on. And in terms of rerolls, the computer always forces you to use leader first, which is sensible and standard on tabletop as well. The chef will appear there, babes will appear there, bribes will appear there, and the wizard will also appear. So loads of stuff going on there. In terms of cards, when you're allowed to use them, the client will ask you when you want to use those cards. So I think that's pretty much anything. That's pretty much everything. Hope that's been reasonably helpful. Obviously, if you have any questions, ask in the forum. Might be worth doing a search first, because people like it if you say, I searched for this and I found it, hooray, rather than just asking the question straight away. But there are lots and lots of helpful people around. So do use the forum, do use the FAQ, which is really cool. It's actually a wiki, which means that anyone can adapt it. So if you find something that's wrong, you can sort of flag it up to people, but also you can, if you're sort of definitely sure it's wrong, then you can put in the forum that you've changed it. You can take the initiative and you can maybe write some interesting stuff in there as well, and contribute to the game as a whole. Speaking of contributing, it's always a good idea to click the contribute button on the top right of the home screen, because that means you can pay some money towards the running costs, server costs and things like that, which gives you a little gold symbol on your home page. And then there's loads and loads of cool things you can do within Fumbbl, like editing your bios and all that sort of stuff, and that's all in the help file. So check out the help file, check out the forum, check out my other videos about activating in Ranked and activating in Blackbox, and I assume that most of you probably have got an account already, but there is a video on that as well. Alright, this has been Sano638. Thank you for watching.